Hey, Chicken Nugget. So I'm still in Costa Rica, and I'm thinking about you a lot because I miss you a lot already. And I wanted to be able to read another bedtime story to you. So I have our Jack and Annie book. Remember this one? Night of the Ninjas by Mary Pope Osborne. And this is what I'm going to keep reading for you tonight. And then maybe another night you can listen to a different story because tonight we're going to finish the whole thing. But like always, let's go back and see what happened the last time we read the book. We had started on chapter 4, and Jack and Annie had just hidden in the tree house, and the ninjas climbed up the tree. They don't know how until they get in there, and then they see that they had like little spiky things that they could use to climb the tree really fast. The ninjas have tossed the rope ladder down, and they're not saying any words, but they're going to make Jack and Annie go with them. And so they go down, and Jack's not so sure, but Annie thinks it's safe. And they walk with them all the way to the river, and then they're going to have them go in the river. But as soon as they step in, it's so cold, it feels like it's burning their skin. And Jack and Annie say, no way, I can't do that again. So the ninjas come all the way back across the river like it's no big deal, put Jack and Annie on their shoulders, and walk them back across the river. Okay, you remember all of that? And then they walk them through the forest and stuff like that. And then they're really quiet, but Jack and Annie are kind of noisy because they're not used to having to walk like that and being stuff. And Jack and Annie are tired too, and it's easy for the ninjas. But while they're walking, and this is chapter 5 now, they see some torches. And the ninjas start going even faster and faster until they get to a part of the forest where they tell Jack and Annie, wait. And then the ninjas just disappear. They just start walking, and boom, they can't see them anymore because they're so good at hiding. And then while they're gone, Jack pulls out his book and looks in there, and it says that they sometimes had meetings in hidden caves. And so he's pretty sure that that's where the ninjas went, is to have a meeting in a hidden cave. And sure enough, when the ninjas come back, they tell Jack and Annie they should go with them. And they take them to a hidden cave. And Annie asks, what's in there? And do you remember what was in there or who was in there? Right, the Ninja Master. The Ninja Master was in there. And so they're going to go in to the cave with the Ninja Master. And that brings us to chapter 6, which we also read yesterday. And they meet the Ninja Master, and they learn a couple of things. One is that the short ninja is what do you think of, a boy or a girl? Right, the short ninja is a girl. And they're kind of surprised by this, but she was super strong and everything else. And so it's kind of a cool thing, I think. And then as they're talking to the Ninja Master, he asks them questions like, who are you? What do you want? Why are you here? And he says that he can help them find Morgan Le Fay, but he can't do it until they prove themselves. And that they have to go, not Jack and Annie, but the ninjas have to go, because there are samurai who are out there and they want to hurt their family. And they tell them that they can prove themselves by getting safely back to the treehouse. And they give them some hints. They say, use nature, be nature, follow nature. And to go east and not get caught because the samurai will hurt them and they won't be nice to them. And so Jack and Annie are alone, and they're a little bit scared, and they have to figure it out. And that's where we're going to start. Chapter 7. To the East. Jack and Annie stood still for a long moment. Annie spoke first. Well, I guess the tall ninja was pointing to the east, she said. I guess that's the way we go. Wait, said Jack. I need to write some stuff down. He took out his notebook. In the moonlight, he wrote, number 1, use nature. Number 2, be nature. Number 3, follow nature. So those were the hints they were given, right? Look, Jack, whispered Annie. Do I look like a ninja? He looked at her. She had pulled her sweatshirt hood over her head and tied the strings tightly. She did look like a ninja, a very small one. Good idea, Jack whispered. He pulled his hood up, too. Okay, let's go, said Annie. Jack put his notebook away. Then he and Annie headed east into the woods. They slipped between trees and more trees and more trees. All the trees looked the same. Jack got confused. Were they still going in the right direction? Wait, he said. Annie stopped. They both stared at the woods around them. Do you think we're still going east? Asked Jack. Hold on, honey. I guess so, said Annie. We can't just guess, said Jack. We have to know for sure. How do we do that? Said Annie. We don't have a compass. Just then, the master's words came back to Jack. The Ninja Master said, The Ninja Master said to use nature, he said. How do we do that? Said Annie. Wait, I remember something. And Jack closed his eyes. He remembered something in a camping book. Now, what was it? He opened his eyes. I've got it. First we need a stick, he said. Annie picked up a stick. Here, she said. Great. Now we just need a space with moonlight, said Jack. There, said Annie. They moved into a moonlight-lit space between the shadows. Now, push the stick into the ground, Jack said. Annie pushed the stick into the ground. The stick's shadow looks like it's more than 6 inches, said Jack. What do you think? I don't know. It looks like it, said Annie. Okay, then. That means the shadow's pointing east, said Jack. Neat, said Annie. So that way is east. Jack pointed a new direction. At least, I hope it is. We're real ninjas now, said Annie. Yup, said Jack. Maybe we are. Come on. They took off, heading east, they hoped. Soon they were out of the pine woods and walking down the rocky mountainside. They moved slowly from rock to rock. Finally, they rested against a giant rock. Let's check our direction again, said Jack. Annie stuck another stick into the dirt. There, he said. He pointed to the shadow on the ground. That way. Annie peeked over the rocks down the mountain. Oh, yikes, she said softly. Jack looked too. His heart nearly stopped. There were flames of fire coming up the mountain. The samurai. Jack and Annie ducked behind the rock. Squeak, said the mouse. Quiet, Peanut, said Annie. Jack reached into his pack. He pulled out the ninja book. I hope something in here can help us, he said. Jack flipped through page after page until he found what he was looking for. It was a picture of warriors wearing bamboo armor. They were holding swords. He read, The samurai were fierce Japanese fighters. They carried 2 swords to cut down their enemies. Annie tapped Jack on the shoulder. Jack looked up. She pointed up the mountain. A figure was coming down toward them. He was very near. In the moonlight, his bamboo armor was shining. His 2 swords were gleaming. It was a samurai warrior. I'm going to stop for a second and show you the picture. At least I'm going to try to. So you can't really see the whole thing here today at once, but you have the book, so you can kind of look at it there. So that's your picture. He looks pretty big and scary, doesn't he? I'd be scared. Anyway, so what do you think is going to happen, Eva? What do you think that samurai warrior is going to do? You think he's going to get the kids? Or do you think they're going to get away? Or do you think maybe a little bit of both? Yes, I'm waiting for you to answer. That's interesting. Go on, Charlie. Sorry about the dog. All right, let's find out what happens then. Chapter 8, Dragon Water. Jack and Annie crouched together. Samurai were on both sides of them now. They were trapped. Jack pressed against the rock. The warrior stepped closer and closer. He looked to the right. He looked to the left. Jack held his breath. Be nature, whispered Annie. What? Jack whispered back. Be nature. Be a rock. Oh, brother, thought Jack. This was nuts. But he squeezed his eyes shut. Then he tried to be part of the rock. Jack tried to be as still as the rock, as solid as the rock, as quiet as the rock. Soon he started feeling as strong as the rock, as safe as the rock. He wanted to be the rock forever. Do you think that would really work, Eva? Do you think that if you pretended to be a rock, that you would be nice and still and silent and quiet so that maybe the ninjas wouldn't see him? What do you think? I think if you tried really hard, it could work. I do. Squeak! He's gone, said Annie. They're all gone. Jack opened his eyes. The samurai warrior was gone. Jack stood up and looked over the rock. The torches were gone too. Let's go, Annie said. Jack took a deep breath. He felt great. He was getting more and more like a ninja every minute. Maybe even like a ninja master. East, he said. And they went east, down the mountain between the rocks, until they came to the wide, icy stream. The water seemed even wilder than before. I don't see the tree house, said Annie. Jack looked across the stream to the dark grove of trees. Moonlight shone on their pale flowers. But where was the tree house? I don't see it either, said Jack. We have to cross the water first. Then we'll try and find it. The water was crashing and running over the rocks. Squeak! The mouse peeked out from its pouch. Don't be afraid, said Annie. She patted the mouse's little head. Be like us. Be like a ninja too. Let's go, Jack said. He took a deep breath and stepped into the stream. The icy water swirled up to his knees. The current knocked him over. Jack grabbed some weeds. He held on tight as water swirled around him. He was freezing to death. Jack! Annie grabbed Jack's arms. She helped him back onto the bank. That was close, said Annie. Jack wiped his glasses. Luckily, they hadn't fallen off into the water. Are you okay? Said Annie. Not really, said Jack, his teeth chattering. He was chilled to the bone. That's an interesting thing to say. Chilled to the bone. What do you think that means? Yeah, he was so cold, Eva. So cold that his coldness went all the way to the very inside of his body where the bones are. Instead of just kind of like being on his skin or whatever. He was so cold. He couldn't stop shaking. He was so cold. We'll never get across, said Annie. We'll drown if we try. Or freeze to death, said Jack. He pulled off the hood of his sweatshirt. He didn't feel much like a ninja anymore. Annie pulled off her hood too. She sighed. What can we do? She said. Squeak! Peanut climbed out of Annie's sweatshirt pouch and leapt onto the ground. The mouse scampered away. Peanut, come back! Annie called. No, said Jack. We have to follow Peanut. Why? Said Annie. We have to do what the master said, said Jack. Follow nature. Oh, right, said Annie. Follow Peanut. But where is Peanut? In the moonlight, Jack saw the little mouse. It was running through the grass along the stream. There, he cried. Come on. Annie hurried after Jack. Jack hurried after Peanut. They ran beside the rushing waters. A moonlit branch had fallen across a narrow part of the stream. It touched both shores. The mouse was running over the branch. Peanut's going over a bridge, said Annie, and she started to follow. Wait, cried Jack. We can't go on that branch. It's too small. It'll break. Ooh, Eva, what are they going to do? Do you think that's what the ninja master meant when he said follow nature? Was that the mouse would lead him? I'm going to move this camera a little bit. Sorry. I mean, it's kind of an interesting idea. Would you follow the mouse or would you not think of it? Okay. Chapter 9, Mouse Walk. The mouse vanished into the tall grass on the other side of the stream. Jack and Annie stared at the tree branch. We have to try to cross it, said Annie. We're supposed to follow nature. Forget it, said Jack. It's too little. It'll crack in a second. Maybe if we pretend we're mice, we can do it, said Annie. Oh, brother, said Jack. Not again. If you could be a rock, you can be a mouse, said Annie. Let's just be teeny and tiny and light and fast. Jack took a deep breath. We have to, said Annie. Okay, said Jack. Say squeak, said Annie. You're nuts, said Jack. Just do it, said Annie. It'll help you feel more like a mouse. Jack groaned. Okay, he said. Squeak. Squeak, said Annie. Squeak, 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 they said together. Let's go, hurry, said Annie. Jack stepped onto the branch. I'm teeny, I'm light, I'm fast, he thought. Then he darted across the branch. Jack moved so quickly he didn't think about anything except getting to the other side. He forgot the wild, freezing water. He forgot the smallness of the branch. Suddenly, Jack was on the other side. Suddenly, Annie was right beside him. Did it work, Emma? Did it work for them to pretend to be a mouse to get across? You think if you had to do something like that it would work for you? It's kind of a neat idea. I think it would be fun to try sometimes. They laughed and fell together into the grass. See, the branch didn't break, said Annie. I guess it was big enough, said Jack. I guess we just had to think the right way. The Peanut way, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack, smiling. He felt great. He was still wet from his fall into the stream, but he didn't mind any more. Jack pushed his glasses into place and stood up. Okay, now we just have to find the tree house, he said. No, we don't, said Annie. She pointed up. The tree house was outlined against the moonlit sky. high in a tree, surrounded by white flowers. In the distance came the sound of voices. Then Jack saw flames. "The samurai are coming back," said Jack. "We have to go." "Where's Peanut?" said Annie. "We can't leave Peanut." "We have to," said Jack. The voices of the samurai were getting closer. So were their torches. "Come on," Jack said. He grabbed Annie's hand. He pulled her toward the rope ladder. "Oh, Jack," she said sadly. "Go, go." Annie started up the rope ladder. Jack followed. He felt sad, too. He liked that little mouse now. He liked it a lot. They climbed up and up. Just before they got to the top, Jack heard it. "Squeak!" "Oh, wow!" cried Annie. "Peanut's inside!" Annie pulled herself into the treehouse. Jack followed. He gasped. Someone else was in the treehouse, too. Eva. Who do you think is in the treehouse with them? I hope it's somebody safe. Let's see what happens. A dark figure was sitting in the corner. "You have done well," the figure said. It was the Ninja Master. "Ooh." "You have followed the way of the ninja," he said. "Oh, man," breathed Jack. "Squeak!" The master was holding Peanut. "Take good care of your little helper," he said, handing the mouse to Annie. Annie kissed the mouse's tiny head. "Ooh, Eva, there's another picture. Let's look at it real quick." I think you can pretty much still see the whole thing. And if not, again, you have the book so you can look at it. Look at how tiny that mouse is. If you drew that picture for me, is that what your mouse looked like? I'm super excited to see that picture. I really do hope you draw one for me. And there's the Ninja Master with Jack and Annie. "And take this," said the master. He held his hand out to Jack. He gave Jack a small round stone. "This moonstone will help you find your missing friend," the master said. Jack stared at the stone. Was this one of the 4 things? "You must go home now," said the master. He picked up the Pennsylvania book and handed it to Annie. "Where did you find it?" asked Jack. "Here," said the master. "You did not see it before, because your heart knew you had a mission to complete first." "What about you?" said Annie. "Can you come with us?" "Yes," said Jack. "We need help finding Morgan." The master smiled. "No, my friends. I must stay here. There will be more help along the way, but you must find the way on your own." Annie opened the book. She found the picture of Frog Creek. She pointed to it. "I wish we could go there," she said. The wind started to blow. The white flowers started to shake. Clouds covered the moon. "Remember," the master said, "keep a kind heart." Then he swung silently down the rope ladder. He disappeared into the dark night. "Wait!" Jack called. There was so much he wanted to ask the master. About nature, about ninjas, about their mission. But the tree house started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Jack gripped the stone in his hand. He squeezed his eyes shut. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. All right, Evabug, we're on chapter 10, and this is the last chapter I'm going to read on this video. Sorry, Xander's sitting next to me, and he almost knocked the computer off my lap. Anyway, this is the last video, or last chapter I have time to read on this video, so we're going to finish this up, and then next time, Alex, stop. And then next time, honey, we can hopefully read another book, if you're interested. I'm going to read the one that you really wanted me to. Ready? Chapter 10, Night Peanut. Jack opened his eyes. Then he opened his fist. He stared at the moonstone in his hand. It was clear and smooth. It seemed almost to glow. "We're home," said Annie. "Squeak!" Annie and the mouse were looking out the window. Jack looked with them. The sun was setting in the distance. No time at all had passed in Frog Creek. They heard their neighbor's dog, Henry, bark. They heard crickets chirping. In the distance they could see their dad step out of their house. He stood on their porch. "Jack! Annie!" he called. "Time for dinner." "Coming!" Annie shouted. Jack sat back on his heels. He looked at the moonstone again. "I guess we have one of our 4 things," he said. "We'll look for the other 3 tomorrow," Annie said. Jack nodded. They had a lot more work to do. He put the moonstone in his pocket. He pulled on his backpack. "Ready?" he said. Wait, said Annie. She took off one of her sneakers. She pulled off her sock. Then she put her sneaker back on. What are you doing? Said Jack. I'm making a bed, she said. A what? Bed, you know, for Peanut to sleep in. Annie picked up the mouse. She tucked it inside her sock. Night, Peanut, she said softly. Squeak! Oh, brother, said Jack. Gonna take a second, Eva. How would you like it if you were a mouse and had to sleep inside of a sock? My socks aren't so bad, but if you had to sleep inside of one of Xander's socks, ew, pee, ew. Or one of your socks, yuck. If I ever turn into a mouse, don't put me in any of your guys' socks, okay? Get a clean sock out of the drawer, please. Annie held the mouse close to Jack. Kiss it goodnight, Jack, she said. Don't be silly, he said. Let's go. Thanks for helping us, Annie said to the mouse. She put Peanut gently down on the glowing M. She pulled Morgan's message out of her pouch and put it next to the mouse. See you tomorrow, she said. Then she started down the ladder. Jack stared at the mouse. It looked back at him. For a moment, its dark eyes looked old and wise. Come on, Jack, called Annie. Jack kissed its tiny head. Ooh, I didn't think he was going to, remember? He was like, don't be silly, that's crazy. And then he did it. Night, Peanut, he whispered. And then Jack headed down the rope ladder. It got darker and darker as he went down. By the time he stepped onto the ground, it was almost completely black.
Don't. Ow.
Where are you? Said Jack. Here, said Annie. Her hand bumped his. He took it. Careful, he said. Careful yourself, she said. Together they took off through the cool, dark woods. They moved silently and swiftly, two shadow warriors returning home. And that's the end of the book, Eva. I hope that you liked it a whole lot. Xander gave me an idea when I was reading the other one that I should blow you a kiss from Costa Rica to Madison, so here it comes. Have a good night's sleep, and I will see you soon. Love you.